All right, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors goes into the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have taught me the truth. Much love, peace, blessings goes out to all you hopeful elect brothers that are teaching the word of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai in truth and sincerity. So this will be a lesson regarding what a lot of brothers and even myself believe through the spirit might be the next major birth pain. In other words, major event that's going to hit the earth and drive it into even more of a state of chaos. Just as comparison, when you compare the event that happened, this whole pandemic going back to the year 2020, which pretty much shook up the foundation of the world by its core. Canceling NBA games. People didn't get their bread in circus. A lot of people got laid off. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. And we see a whole lot of crime and degenerate activity, just continuing on in the onset of that. But through the spirit, we know Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, he's predicted of even more and more and more judgment on that level, world level judgment to come upon the earth, because we live in a state where the earth is ruled by the wicked, the so-called white man who's pushing out all types of philosophies and ways of life. And he has been for hundreds of years, that are in ways of life that are against the Most High. And he has been doing this for hundreds of years. And we're living in this time and day and age where everything's coming back full circle. And all these judgments, even though the elite of Esau, to them, they're, planning and, coordinating a lot of this chaos and judgment that's going on. But it's all to the will and power of the Most High, because Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to have their plans go awry and, pretty much end up destroying them too at the end all be all of it, because this is happening for the deliverance of Israel. So as it pertains to that next major event that I was speaking about, this whole C-19, the pandemic, what's next and been reported about is these cyber attacks. We've seen certain examples in the news. I believe there was one situation which was getting a lot of news coverage where a meat processing factory or company were allegedly the victims of a cyber attack, and they had to shut down and they couldn't send out the meat and so forth to the people, right? But that's all planned. Okay, so I want to go here and let's see, second measures. Hold on. Second Ezra 16:36. It says, matter of fact, read from verse 37. Salakia, brothers. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. Now, when the Lord is speaking of these plagues, is speaking of disastrous events that's going to grip the earth. And they're not slack, meaning they're coming at a frequent rate. The Most High is not, he has all these things loaded in the chamber, so to speak, and ready to pop off. It says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. You see? So it's in comparison to when a woman is giving birth, and when she's right before she's about to be delivered, she experiences these pains at a high frequency, to the point where the pains, the interval and the time in between from pain to pain, that time span gets shorter and shorter. And that's exactly what we're about to see on the earth, you know? And that's what we're seeing, you know, because you had the major C19 event, as I mentioned. You had about all these variants that's coming out. It's like variants of this C19 are coming out quicker and quicker. And that's how the Lord has laid this out, you know? And and the thing about it is the narrative is about to switch up even faster, to the point where, you know, these cyber attacks are about to be reported on a whole nother level. And I'm gonna read this article which details, you know, the risks and how, you know, the effects of if a cyber attack happen, and it's be drastic. Basically a major cyber attack will bring on all the events of 2nd Ezra 16. You know, the chaos. So if you go here, if you look up this from these people, you know, we seeing a lot of news about cyber attacks. So I just Googled cyber attack. I said went to Google and typed in cyber attacks in U.S. You got all these different articles coming out. Because you got to remember, the media is controlled by the elites. So what they're doing is they're getting the people familiarized with the idea of a cyber attack, to where when a major one happens, the people could be basically not skeptical of the narrative when it happens, and believe things and believe what the government says. So you go here to World Economic Forum, and this is what's really telling, because you had the World Economic Forum, which are speaking heavy about this event, cybersecurity and cyber attacks. If you look here, World Economic Forum 17 hours ago, everything you need to know about cybersecurity in 2022. Growing cyber threats listed among, this is from a week ago, from Port Swigger. Growing cyber threats listed among greatest global risks in annual World Economic Forum report. So you got that. So they're pushing that narrative to get people scared, if you will, of such a thing happening, and view it as a threat, when really they don't understand that's a threat. That's a man-made threat. It's a delusion. Okay. So I want to play this video. It shows you this has been on their plans for a number of years.
I think we all need to be worried about it. I can certainly say at Schwab, we take this very seriously in terms of what we're doing inside our own organization and with our systems, as I'm sure every other financial institution is. But I think I have no greater ability than anybody else to speculate on if it happens and when and how big it is. But I think there's a couple of factors to consider. To the point made by the guest this morning, whose soundbite we just heard, it does represent potentially something systemic that really kind of moves into the entire...
And by the way, just to preface this video, this was a video from 3 years ago, 2018, where Carl Schwab was jumping on the scene and speaking about these cyber attacks, okay? So you got to remember as well, the elites, they familiarize the people with their agenda and throw it out there before they put their plans into action, you see? So this is just another example of problem, reaction, solution.
Global financial system, but maybe just as important would be what it would do to psych.
See that key word, global financial system? Why would the global financial system be a topic at hand? Because they want to crash it. They want to reset the global financial system which is really ran by the petrodollar and all different fiat and paper currencies, and change it to digital. You see, this is all part of it.
And if you think back to
And that
2000,
digital is going to be that charagma, that insert, the rice grain.
2008, yes, there were plenty of fundamental and bubble bursting reasons why we had the carnage that we did, why the market went down as much as it did, why the recession was as ugly as it was. But a lot of it was pure fear on the part of businesses and consumers and investors. And that can feed on itself too. And versus something, say, like a natural disaster that isn't necessarily going to instill that pervasive fear,
Right.
I think a cyber attack would.
You know, Michael, to some degree, we all get lulled into a false sense of security about all of this because there are plenty of security services out there that are designed, or their mission is to prevent this from happening, but then it happens. So, you know, are we really that safe from that kind of an attack?
No, Bill, but we never really are, and we haven't been for the past few years. When I think back to 2007, you know, we were talking about subprime, and we were saying, all right, we understand how subprime could be a threat. We didn't know that the banks were levered 40 to 1. Most of us didn't know. We didn't know that there were $2 billion, $3 billion of off-balance sheet SIVs. I didn't know what a SIV was, Bill, until all of a sudden you're sitting at your desk in the fall with the market dropping.
So, hold on. I mean, pretty much the point was made when they're tying these, cyber attacks to the global market, the global financial institution. So you go here. I'm gonna read this article. It explains what the effects would be of a cyber attack, of a massive cyber attack. It says here, cyber attacks is from May 23rd, 2019, so a couple years ago. Again, at least they speak about their wickedness before they do it, okay? Because look at this. Psalm 10:3, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. See? So they boast of what they're going to do before they come out and do it. And they do it in subtle ways, because Esau has a forked tongue. It says, cyber attacks are the newest frontier of war and can strike harder than a natural disaster. Here's why the U.S. could struggle to cope if it got hit. It says here, if you read down to this is a powerful article, man. It says, imagine waking up one day and feeling as if a hurricane hit, except everything is still standing. The lights are out. There's no running water. You have no phone signal, no internet. You see? And that would even more play into the agenda of the elites, because they want to cut the internet because of all the opposition and truth going out. Because a lot of people, even though they're not fully awoke, they have certain information on how a lot of the narrative of the news, Fox News, CNN, blah, 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 it's all BS. It says, no internet, no heating or air conditioning. Food starts rotting in your fridge. Hospitals struggle to save their patients. Trains and planes are stuck. There are none of the collapsed buildings or torn up trees that accompany a hurricane, and no floodwater. But all the same, the world you take for granted has collapsed. This is what it would look like if hackers decided to take your country offline. Hey, so that's pretty much it, man. Imagine that. Imagine that type of chaos that would be going down, in said event. And this is what the elites are coming with, man. Because remember, they had been warning about a global pandemic years before this happened. So if they're worried about if they're talking about a cyber attack in XYZ at this moments years ago, hey, we're in the prime time to where this is about to go down. You better believe it. That's why the prophets are here talking. Hey, I pray this is true. I hope this happens tomorrow. Honestly speaking. So you go here. Second Esdras. Matter of fact, let's go to the book of Matthew 19. No. Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So these are the things Yahweh Shai said was going to be happening on earth before he returned. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing rumors about the conflicts of what's going on in the Middle East, as far as the tensions between Iran and Israel, et cetera, et cetera. The tensions between China and Taiwan. The tensions right now, which are major, between Russia and Ukraine. So we in that time. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And just like that article, it said that the landscape, I should say, that the people would be affected as if it were a natural disaster, and without the infrastructure damage, you know. So that's going to bring famine. A lot of people are going to panic buy, hit up these stores, be in confusion. It says in verse 8, says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So after these happen, after these sorrows take place, you know, that's when, you know, Esau is going to come full head along to try to arrest a lot of brothers, throw us in prison, and put a lot of us to death. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. So when it comes to certain brothers and some sisters that believe, and we're gonna be getting thrown up in these prisons to die for the word of the Lord. And you know, that's cool, because even after we die, after Esau finds us guilty and say, well, you're a terrorist and blah blah blah, guillotine for you. He can cut our heads off and so forth, but we'll just be raised up in the spirit. That means we fulfill our course. That means we're been a faithful servant to the Lord. So, hey, that's fine too. That's a blessing. But we know that's going to happen directly after all hell breaks loose. You can expect Esau to come and start to snatch us up. So just pray for your souls, man. Pray for your minds that we got to pray for each other and pray for our own minds that we're able to endure through this type of times. You know, it says, let's go here. Let's see what it says here. This is back in 2 Ezra 16, chapter, verse 39. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Dealing with the cyber attack, imagine the people not being able to get on social media, not being able to buy anything on Amazon. That's going to put them in a mournful state. Because to be in mourning represents a deep sadness, sorrow. People are going to mourn because they no longer can have the amenities and luxuries of this world. So that's when a lot of people are going to be angry at the men of the Lord. It says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. You see? And why should we be as pilgrims? Because we got to be on the move. We can't be stationary. Because Esau's going to be gunning for us. You got certain people gunning for us, and so forth. Can't have worldly attachments if you're a pilgrim, such as, you know, cars and certain clothes. You got to be ready to go. It says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. See? So that's that mindset overall that, you know, though we may be interacting in the world, you got to be ready for that transition, you know? So you go here, the book of Second Ezra 5 and 8, it says, there shall be confusion also in many places. So when this cyber attack goes down, people can't get on the internet. You're going to have people walking outside their apartments in mass numbers outside their houses, talking to one another, lighting lamps. Oh, what's going on? Did you hear about XYZ? You know, if certain phone lines is on, people are going to be calling their family members. What's going on? That's that confusion. Because confusion is going to be in their minds because they're not going to have any answers as to what's happening. It says, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. So that's going to be the situation happening. We've seen a bit of that about the beasts changing their places, because when the lockdowns is going on and everyone is inside, certain wild animals from forests out in the rural areas was coming into the cities. So that's going to be the scenario. That's going to be the picture. That's going to happen all over again, is what I'm trying to say. Because you can imagine Esau, as far as if you living in the inner city, you just getting carted off to a concentration camp, XYZ. And then since animals understand that people won't be in these cities, they're going to move in. So a lot of people that are part of that residue, say they don't get caught up, they're still in the city, they're going to die from these beasts. They'll be killing them. Snakes and bears and so forth, wolves, different animals, the zoo animals that escape. They're going to be killing and eating people during these times after a cyber attack, XYZ. Hey, so this is the time to really be circumspect and build up our faith. Because we are going to be in the midst of this as well, observing and seeing everything that's going on. There's going to be a time of many days of trouble and brothers and sisters just surviving, barely making it. But thing is, we have to keep relying on Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to keep coming through for us in these days, okay? So, pretty much that's it. The point was made. When this cyber attack happens, man, you can expect things to turn up onto a whole different level. That's game time when the cyber attacks happen. So all praises goes to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Shalom.